So let's talk about this idea of loving yourself. So many people that I meet are trying to love themselves. You know, they've been told by their guru, by their spiritual teacher, by the self-help books or whatever that they're supposed to love themselves. There's even courses and workshops and retreats on loving yourself. The danger is, of course, is that you start to make loving yourself into a goal. You make that into a destination. And then it becomes like, why am I not loving myself enough? I remember years ago on a retreat, there was this woman on a retreat I was running, and she came up to me in the break and she said, Jeff, I finally understand it. She said, I've been trying to love myself for so many years, and I've even gone on workshops like how to love yourself in 7 days workshops and stuff like that. And she says, I always finish those workshops feeling worse about myself, and everyone around me seems to be able to love themselves. But I don't seem to be able to get there. And she said, I've just realized that actually I'd made that into a goal, and I'm not loving the part of me that doesn't fully love me yet. If you see what I mean. It's almost like, this is very paradoxical, but in trying to love herself, she was actually hating herself. She was hating herself more for not being able to love herself more. So on this retreat, really, I just gave her permission to not love herself. Forget about loving yourself. And this is what meditation is really, isn't it? We begin with the raw truth of our experience. And if in the raw truth of our experience, when we stop and we look within and we find pain, we find resistance, we find non-acceptance, we find these so-called shadows, these so-called negative aspects, these bits that we don't really want. Meditation actually invites us not to try and escape them, not to try and love them into their disappearance, but to actually begin by opening to our experience, or opening up to our lack of self-love. We can begin there. We can begin by loving our closedness, loving our own inability to love sometimes, our resistance, our frustration. I'm always reminded of that poem, the Guest House by Rumi. I actually have a translation of it here by Coleman Barks, and this always stuck with me, and this has been so helpful to me. Just to begin to see your inner world as a guest house, and all these thoughts, sensations, feelings, even the pain, even the grief, even the frustration, even that part of you that doesn't love, these are all guests in your guest house. And Rumi invites us to begin to treat them, to treat all our inner parts, every thought, every sensation, every feeling as a welcome guest. As Rumi says, this being human is a guest house, every morning a new arrival. A joy, a depression, a meanness, some momentary awareness comes as an unexpected visitor. Welcome and entertain them all, even if they are a crowd of sorrows who violently sweep your house empty of its furniture. Still, treat each guest honorably. They may be clearing you out for some new delight. The dark thought, the shame, the malice, meet them at the door laughing and invite them in. Be grateful for whoever comes, because each has been sent as a guide from beyond. Isn't that beautiful? And this is really the heart of meditation, right? It's beginning to see every thought, every joy, every sorrow, even that, that burning ball of anxiety in our bellies, or that feeling of resistance. And in the past, we might have said to ourselves, these bits are wrong. These energies are wrong. They're bad. They're unspiritual. I have to get rid of them. That's what we used to see, perhaps spirituality as, or meditation as. It's getting rid of all the bits we don't like. But of course, that's just the mind's version, right? From the perspective of love, which I really believe this is what Rumi is talking about, who we really are as love, from that perspective, we can actually begin to welcome in every thought, the dark thought, the negative thought, the violent thought even. Doesn't mean we believe in the thoughts. It doesn't mean we obey them. But just to begin to see them as like guests. They're not here to destroy you. They won't necessarily stay. They're not necessarily the truth. They're just guests coming in, staying for a while, leaving. And the guest house is you. It's your being. It's your awareness. It's your consciousness, whatever word you want to use. Similarly, every feeling, the boredom, the doubt, the joy, the despair, begin to see them as guests. They come, they stay for a while, they have a meal, they sleep overnight, maybe they sleep a few nights, a few weeks, whatever, and they leave. But it's not your job as the guest house itself. It's not your job to kick them out. It's not your job to fight them. It's not your job to try and destroy them. You know, I did another video about how for many years, in the name of self-love, I kicked out these guests. I went to war with my thoughts. I went to war with my feelings. In the name of self-love, actually. So I think here we're pointing to this bigger kind of self-love. The guest house ultimately is who you are. It is love. It's presence itself. And there's so much room in what you are for thoughts to come and go, sensations to come and go, feelings. As I said, even that a burning feeling of frustration or desire, longing, non-acceptance, resistance, lack of self-love. We don't begin by saying that lack of self-love is wrong, I must destroy it and replace it with self-love. That's not very loving, right? We can actually become violent to ourselves and others in pursuit of self-love. Because true self-love would be this opening to this guest house. True self-love would even allow non-loving thoughts, non-loving feelings. It would even allow feelings of anger, feelings of depression, disappointment. There's this sense of opening your arms wide, 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 wide to all of these guests, because they are just guests. They're not there to stay permanently. They're not enemies. So this notion of this kind of inner guest house has really helped me over the years. It's helped me find, I think, true self-love, not the concept of self-love. Oh, I love myself. I love my, that, not that kind of mind-based idea of self-love, but a genuine sense of presence, where all of myself, including the shadowy parts, the painful parts, the uncomfortable parts, they're all welcome in this guest house. And so really that's what meditation is. Meditation is an invitation moment by moment to remember the guest house. In meditation, we're not trying to achieve altered states. We're not trying to fix or change our experience. We're here to slow down and remember the guest house of presence, in which all our thoughts are welcome, all sensations are welcome, all feelings are welcome. Even, as I always say, even that part of you that desperately wants to run away, that part of you that we might be a bit ashamed of, we might want to hide or run from, that part of you that wants to escape the present moment, that part of you that wants to run away. It wants to be somewhere else. It wants to be doing something else. It's that addictive part of us, that seeking part of us. Even this is really important to hear. And if you can really, really get this, it may truly break you open to this deeper self-love. But even that part, that burning longing to escape the present moment, is itself deeply, 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 deeply welcome in the guest house of the present moment. We don't have to stop it. We don't have to go to war with it. We don't have to obey it. We don't have to try and get rid of it. It can come and stay for a bit. Really, really, it can come and stay for a bit in the warmth of your loving presence. So that, I think that's very different from this idea, I have to love myself. That's a very mental thing. That's very different from seeing self-love as a should, or a goal, or a destination. This is more seeing self-love as a living, moment by moment, embrace, which and seeing it in a deeper sense as who you really are. The guest house is always here. Of course, we may forget it. We may get lost in our thinking and trying to escape the moment. But then, in any moment, we can remember the guest house again. So thank you, Rumi, for that lovely poem. Thank you, Coleman Barks, for that lovely translation. Welcome and entertain them all of your guests. Meet them at the door laughing and invite them in. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope it was a little bit helpful to you. If you'd like to see more short videos like this, please click on subscribe, I think it is, or follow, or whatever the thing that you click on is. And yeah, thank you so much for watching, and lots of love to you all.